Global supply chain buckles as virus variants and disasters strike. There's more to this story, and I'm going to show you the color. I'm going to show you the real reason for this, but I'll let you, let's hear what Reuters has to say. July 23rd, a new worldwide wave of COVID-19, natural disasters in China and Germany, a cyber attack, and targeting key South African ports. Events have conspired to drive. Events or a certain shady group of people? I don't know. Events, let's say, says Reuters. Have conspired to drive a global supply chains towards its breaking point, threatening the fragile flow of raw materials, parts, and consumer goods, according to companies, economists, and shipping specialists. The Delta variant of the coronavirus has devastated parts of Asia and prompted many nations to cut off land access for sailors. That's left captains unable to rotate weary crews and about 100,000 seafarers stranded at sea beyond their stints in a flashback to the 2020 and heights of the lockdowns. We're no longer on the cusp of a second crew change crisis. We're in one, Guy Platon said, Secretary General of the International Chamber of Shipping, told Reuters. This is a perilous moment for the global supply chains. Given ships transport around 90% of the world's trade, the crew crisis is disrupting the supply of everything from oil and iron ore to food and electronics. Vessel capacity is very tight, empty containers are scarce, and the operational situation at certain ports and terminals is not really improving, it said. We expect this to last probably into the fourth quarter, but it is very difficult to predict. Meanwhile, deadly floods in economic giants China and Germany have further ruptured global supply lines that had yet to recover from the first wave of the pandemic, compromising trillions in dollars in economic activity that rely on them. The Chinese flooding is curtailing the transport of coal from mining regions such as Inner Mongolia and Shaanxi. The state planner says just as power plants need fuel to meet peak summer demand. In Germany, road transportation of goods has slowed significantly in the week of July 11th as the disaster unfolded. The volume of late shipments rose by 15% from the week before, according to data from supply chain tracking platforms 4Kites. So they're saying there's all these different things happening that are totally unrelated to human activity, and it's just happenstance that we can't get trucks delivered and we can't get ships into ports and blah blah blah. It's just, all these things happening at once by accident. I don't know about that. Here is Nick Hudson, and he's related to Panda Pandemics Data and Analyst. Analytics. There we go. And he says, for more than a year, Pandata 19 has been flooded by messages chronicling the many depravities visited upon ordinary folk by restrictions that have yielded no benefits. Many hit me hard, but this one in particular needs air. I think this is what's driving the coming supply chain crisis. I think that it will be a crisis. So get your Christmas presents now. And it has nothing to do with natural disasters or hackers having bad timing. I think it has much more to do with a coordinated response. Here's why. Quote, for 20 years, we have been living and working in Vietnam and have our factory there. Vietnam did very good during the time when the West was completely in lockdown mode. Now, since April 2021, they changed the style and implemented mass testing everywhere and anywhere. There is an isolation mania of contact persons of positive tests and contacts, locking up of workers inside the factories, locking down alleys, closing food markets, closing food delivery services, and now start the Wuhan food distribution style for special areas. The food shortage is already acknowledged. In the south, milk, fresh vegetables are destroyed because the food cannot be delivered anymore to Saigon. We're supporting our employees who are locked up with food because they have close to nothing. Now, also, we are hindered from doing so. We have photos and videos from factories, isolation camps, and hospitals. It's pure horror, and we're speechless about the silence from the mainstream news, MNC, the multiple organizations used to audit factories in terms of social compliance, and the human rights groups. So everyone is silent on this. Nobody's talking about this. There are supposed to be checks and balances, and nobody's talking about it. How is it possible that this humiliation of people can happen in the eyes of the world? Is it because the West admires China and how fabulously they did? I do not know if you're collecting stories of what is happening or if you have channels to make people open their eyes and stop these types of completely overdrawn pandemic measures causing so much pain to the normal citizen. All the Western experts advising Vietnam on how to handle the pandemic the correct way pushed Hanoi week by week further to harder, stricter measures. I could not believe that Washington experts were requesting a communist government to be harder and stricter in their measures, but sadly it is like that. Anyone who reads this should grasp immediately how sick and twisted it has become, has been the COVID-19 response supervened upon by organizations who should know better. So there's things going on around the world that are putting more pressure. I've said, remember the end of Office Space where they beat the crap out of the fax machine? The first strike didn't break the fax machine. It was the repeated striking. And now we're at the part where you can see the damage from the fax machine. It's starting to crack in two. And here's another one. American Airlines warns about jet fuel shortages around the U.S., asks pilots to conserve. You'll own nothing, and you won't be able to travel, and you won't be able to do anything because we've destroyed the means of being able to keep up the manufacturing and shipping system we've built up over the last 40 years. So it seems like that's what they're destroying. It seems like it is. That represents opportunity. Make no mistake. Like if you can find something that you're short on, that they're short on, and you can get it manufactured in like Canada or Ontario, opportunity. Bring your manufacturing back because it doesn't look like it's getting better. Not in the short term or medium term anyway, as far as things go. Not in Ontario anyway. Here's